You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If on the other hand you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Bork. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Here's Dwayne.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Odd. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Tuesday, 19th day of March, 2019. Welcome to another edition of My Existential Crisis. Ha! Google that. All right. Hey, I want to know who has a smooth way of removing the smart.com browser hijacker. Man, that thing, I'm so vigilant about those things. And somehow it snuck in under the door, and now I've got it. And it doesn't appear so bad on the surface, but I hear it can do bad things, but nobody seems to have a really clever way of just getting rid of it. I was tricked into downloading another anti-malware tool, Zamanta or Zamana, something. Yeah, Zamana. And it didn't work either. It's still there. So, in fact, you couldn't even find it. But it's touted on the on the internet as the thing. All right, so if you know, put it in the chat box. So, hey, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining us. If you're returning, welcome back. If you're here for the first time, a special welcome to you. We're certainly glad to have you with us. Makes us smile. I got a chart up of the S&P 500 Emini Futures. If you can't see the chart, it's probably a chart you want to see. So go to our homepage at CFRN.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. Within 30 seconds, you'll be registered. You'll have one-click access to the show each and every day. In fact, we'll even remind you right before the show starts that the show's about to start. So wherever you're at, you can sit down, take a break, and enjoy the show. You'll be able to see the charts, participate in the discussion, ask questions, whatever you want to do. After all, it's your show. All right. Now, if you are away from the office or working off a cell phone and you still want to join the show, you can do that. Go to youtube.com/CFRN/live, and there you'll find a live simulcast of our show each and every day, live in real time, thanks to who? The good folks at YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. All right. Runaway market, is that what they call it? Looks pretty spectacular from here. Now, I've already done this, which is, I know it's only Tuesday, don't scold me. This week's weekly trading zone, 3637, this week's weekly trading zone. Climbing the ladder of a runaway market. What's next on the agenda? 2848/49. Here we go. There you have it. Is there one more zone overhead, perhaps? Yes. Do I think we'll see it today? In this market, I suppose anything's possible. But I don't think so. However, today only being Tuesday, it's a possibility, especially when you consider the fact that tomorrow we get a Fed announcement. Now, we don't expect the Fed head, Jerome Powell, to raise interest rates by any stretch. We don't expect him to lower them either. So with no anticipated change in the interest rate, what's the big deal? Well, everyone will be looking to the commentary, the accompanying dialogue. I'm not sure if he's doing a Q&A tomorrow or not. Let me check. I'll check. Let's see. Tomorrow, Wednesday, March 20th. Boy, do we have, I've never seen so much news out of Great Britain. Could this even be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, I show 15 economic reports out of Great Britain tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Eastern. And then another one at 7 a.m. Here in the U.S., do we have any high impact news? We got crude oil inventories. That's high impact. And then we have the FOMC economic projections, high impact. The FOMC statement, high impact. The Fed interest rate, how many names can they give this thing? Fed interest rate decision, high impact. And yes, the FOMC press conference. Now, the interest rate statement will come out at 2 Eastern and the press conference 2:30 Eastern. And no details other than there'll be a press conference. Okay. All right. So there you have it. Now, again, another zone overhead. Don't see us getting there today, considering how much the market is up. We'll talk about all of that and more in a minute. I got a little bit of news here. The New Zealand-based cryptocurrency exchange Cryptopia is now open for trading again. The platform, which was hacked at the start of the year, losing almost 10% of its assets, has announced that it's resumed trading on 40 trade pairs that its team has quantified as secure and will continue to expand the list as they clear more coins. The Cryptopia team also sent out an email to update customers on the progress they are making, promising there will be a rebate for those who lost funds. Users will start to see withdrawals of their lost funds and a deposit of Cryptopia Loss Marker, CLM. The platform explained that CLM is not a coin. It can't be traded. Rather, it's just a number in the database that represents the loss for each coin for each user in New Zealand dollars at the time of the hack. The rebate won't be immediate, as the company still needs to take steps to ensure that the planned reimbursement process follows local laws. Speaking of laws, as regulators and lawmakers get more involved in any market, businesses in the field usually feel they have to respond by hiring lobbyists to represent their interests with politicians. As such, it should come as no surprise that there's been a strong regulatory push in the U.S. to control the digital assets market, such as instructing projects who they can offer tokens to and classifying certain coins as securities. This, in turn, has led to cryptocurrency companies stepping up their political game. A new report shows that the industry almost tripled its lobbying efforts over the last year. K Street, by the way, ground zero for lobbying in Washington, D.C. Lobbying on cryptocurrencies and the blockchain technology underpinning them is a niche but growing industry on K Street. Politico reported Monday the number of entities that reported lobbying on blockchain issues has nearly tripled over the past year, according to disclosure filings, from a dozen in the fourth quarter of 2017 to 33 in the final quarter of 2018. And if you're looking for work in the crypto space, listen up. Are you a financial technology professional who loves cryptocurrency but still wants to play it safe and work for a legacy payment system? Well, credit card giant Visa has a job just for you. The company is looking for a technical product manager on the Visa crypto team, which is based out of its Palo Alto offices. Where else? The online want ad, which was posted earlier this month, provides another look at what Visa wants to do in the cryptocurrency space. It explains that the potential product manager will have to possess significant functional knowledge of the crypto ecosystem and all the players involved, including in-depth knowledge around permissionless blockchain technology, as well as a deep understanding of existing retail payment solutions. Well, there you have it, a little bit of news. Let's go to the numbers. These are the numbers from around the world. We'll start here with the cash market in the U.S. The Dow currently up, stand by. Going to refresh that, bring it in. The Dow up 154 points, NASDAQ up 50, S&P 500 up 16, and the Russell 2000 up 1. We're going to talk about the Russell in a moment. It's been doing a pretty good job of leading to the upside, leading to the downside of late. We're going to look closer at that, and we're going to see where it's headed right here, right now. In the commodity basket, crude oil down 15 cents, trading 58.94 last. Gold up $6, trading 1307.50 last. In the Asian markets, at the closing bell, I don't know if they have a bell, maybe a gong. Nikkei down 17 points, Shanghai down 5, Hang Seng up 57. In the European markets, the FTSE finished the session adding 35 points. The DAX increased by 143. It's a little over 1% for the DAX, and the only mover and shaker we have on the board today, the CAC finished the session up 16. That makes it a mixed day in Asia, a green day in the UK, and so far it is a big green Radio Tuesday right here in the US of A. Let's go to Michael and get a recap of everything that happened this morning. I'll be back with much more. Stay with us. Much more.
much more.
Way more.
Do it. Okay, way more. It's just a whole bunch more. There we go.
That's a lot. It really is.
Coming over my way now.
All right. There you go.
There we go. All right.
Shout it from the rooftops.
I will. So everybody should be looking at my screen now. And let's see. I'm going to put this up here and say, good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, the 19th day of March, 2019. If you have not taken a free trial with us, you simply need to go to the home page at CFRN.net. Right over here on the right-hand side, it says 5-day free trial. Apply.cfrn.net. You can click on that, or you can scroll down to where it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required, use proprietary indicators for free, or go all the way down to the bottom if you want. And down there it says start free trial, no credit card required. Click on any of those, and eventually you are going to get, and I'm scrolling back up, and eventually you are going to get to this page. Where on this page, all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. Hit that submit button. Once you hit the submit button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link, okay? If you don't click the confirmation link, then you don't get a free trial, all right? You got to hit that link, because we don't know that you took the free trial until you do that. Now, today, I'm going to go over what happened and what didn't happen. There wasn't a whole lot going on today. Again, the markets, I think they're just waiting for this Fed release. The markets are, well, they're really slow and not very volatile. All right, so we started out here with the gold, and we did not end up with anything that we could do right in the half hour. Then it started to trend. It dropped down and it started to trend, and it broke this dynamic support level right here. Okay, down here in the slingshot, the green line pulled away from the cycle. And when that happens, what do we expect? Well, we expect the green line to get back to the cycle. Okay, as long as the cycle doesn't start going up, we expect that green line to get back to the cycle. So we had a shorting opportunity right here. That was good for 5 ticks. So we picked that up, and it continued through it. This, I believe, is where we got our goal for the day. It is. But we had, I'll get to the other markets in a few minutes. But this is where we got the goal for the day. Now it pulled back up, but as it pulled back up, it dragged the cycle up with it right here. Okay, so this closed below the trend line right here. It was no good. Over here, it changed directions. Now you're into the break when we weren't doing anything. It changed directions and really gave nothing. Okay, and that was gold this morning. We had one opportunity and we took it. The euro. You know, any day I can show you our whole morning session in half a screen. That's a day without a lot of movement. Okay, and I really do think that it's waiting for tomorrow. Okay. There was one trading opportunity on the euro this morning. It was right here, and I missed it. but But it would have been a break even for me anyway, because I would have moved my stop to break even on close below the MA1, and it would have came back up and taken me out of break even. But the close below this trend line right here. Now, the markets, all the markets started out this morning either really flat or just whipping back and forth. And thankfully, our trade setups kept us out of those. Wayne. Where bites? Now where bites premium. I think he does have something like that. I'm not sure though. I'll have to go look. Oh, he'll have to go look. Anyway, right here was our shorting opportunity. That was the only opportunity we had this morning. It changed directions here. Changed directions, and this is during the break now. It closed up above the trend line that I had drawn. What time was that exactly? Yeah, 11:33. It was during the break. Closed above that trend line. Again, that would have been a break-even trade for me. I would have been anticipating it to get up to the high of the day, but it failed to do so. And when it closed up above the MA1 right there, the risk management strategy that we use would have made me put my stop to break even, and it would have taken me out at break even right over here. I might have gotten a tick or two out of it, but really nothing more than that. And over here there was a short right here off the BBC that worked out, for some profit. It's 7, 8 ticks were in there. It did not put in a lower swing. It started to print dynamic support here. Did not put in a lower swing and printed dynamic support. Yeah, that was it. From there, it did not continue the trend, so you have nothing else going on here with the euro. Okay, crude oil. We had a couple of them on crude. Now this one right here, I wish I would have managed it a little bit better. When we went short right in here. Now I had drawn the trend line, but we didn't need the trend line because we had to bounce off the BBC. So we went short there off the BBC, and it went all the way down here to the swing low, and I didn't lock in any profit. I could have locked in 5 ticks there, and then we would have gotten our goal for the day a little sooner. But I didn't. I was talking, and I actually physically had, I'll show you. I had my cursor on it, ready to drop it, but I didn't, because I was talking about something. Anyway, after that, there was another opportunity here on the close down below the trend line. Down here in the slingshot, the cycle was red and below the green line, and this was the new low of the day at the time. Now, I was saying when it was back up here that it was going to get down to here, 59.22, which is right here, 59.22. That's what I was saying, and it did that as we got the goal for the day. Okay, and then it changed directions, came back up, and this, well, I didn't want to do anything in here because I didn't really consider this a trend. It was kind of sideways action. Then it put this in, and if we were trading during the break, we would not have done anything in there because the black step line crossed below the BBC. Yep, nothing in there, and nothing in there. And that was it. We ended with 5 ticks on crude and 5 ticks on gold. The ES was just garbage all day long. It was in and out of this weekly trading zone the whole morning session. After the morning session ended, when the European markets closed, then it took off and gave some good opportunity. There was a long trade right here, another long trade right here. Now, I don't know if that was going into the high of the day. If it was, then we may or may not have taken it. They were momentum trades, both of them. This one right here, I think, would have been okay. That one would have been okay. But this one right here, probably not. And now you can see it's starting to change direction off the high of the day and probably going to work its way back down into this weekly trading zone. And if we look at that on a higher time frame, I like the 15-minute. Yeah, you see that big doji right there off the high of the day. And we'll look at it on an even higher time frame. Yeah, that's pretty bearish looking right there. But it is what it is. All right, and that was it. So, in summary, today we only had 3 trade opportunities that we actually did do, and I think we had missed one on the euro. And we got our goal for the day. It took us 73 minutes and 3 trades to get to $100 per contract. $100 per contract. Okay. All right, and with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
I'm ready.
Excellent. Okay.
That's the deal. All right.
Yeah.
Jingle John, don't know if he's here.
He's out there.
Okay, fantastic. Hey Wayne, I see your message in the chat box about the malware bytes. I do have that. I do have the premium version, but when I run it, it doesn't detect anything. I think I'll shoot an email over to the customer support staff at Malwarebytes, which is a great program, not a sponsor of the show, I might add, but a great product nonetheless, and ask them what they recommend, because I bet they know how to do it. There is a
What's
method.
The problem you having, Dwayne?
Oh, yeah, I'll show you.
Okay.
I'll just show you. Here's what happens when I try to talk with my friend the internet. Oh, let's say I wanted to Google forward. Okay. See, first it loads the real results. Did you see that? Did you see that flicker? Watch this.
I did see a flicker.
Oh, boom. There you go. Flicker. See, now you get all this stuff. Like add. And then you finally wind your way down into the actual Google. So it's very clever in how they do it, because well, it just is. And most people probably just think, well, that's Google. You know, all them ads. I heard about Google and all them ads. No, Google typically will put maybe 1 or 2 related ads up top. In fact, they might have a limit on 2. I'm not sure. Real results.
And then it just changes.
Not so real results. Yep, that's what a browser hijacker will do. So all of you tech-savvy folk out in the audience,
If mine does that.
please, by all means, straighten me out. This just started, less than a week ago. So did you say you opened John's mic?
Yeah, I did.
Hey, John, welcome to the show.
Nope, mine does not do that.
Yeah, so apparently I downloaded something, and it hides it, you know, when you're going through the, you know, do you allow this, and do you want this, and do you like that, and it just slips in. Normally it's that doggone McAfee that tries to slip in under the door. But I've had to root this smart out before, and really the best way to do it is go into the registry settings. But some of you might know from experience that you start messing with the regedit, and well, you can throw things really.
Oh yeah, you can. Oh yeah, you can just kill applications.
You can kill Windows.
Yep, you can. Yeah.
Hey John, are you there? Hey John.
He's not here yet, but I did open his mic up.
All right. Well, he's got an open mic. All right, so he knows what to do with that.
Okay. I could open up John C's mic. He's probably driving though. He's a long haul trucker. He's probably listening.
I saw a billboard yesterday that said if you want to go to some truck driving school or go to work for some company, I think that was it, you could earn up to 54 cents a mile. And so, being as I was a passenger and not actually driving the vehicle, I did some quick math in my head. And I said, if a fella drove one of those big trucks 100 miles, that'd be $54.
It would be.
And given that, you know, I was trying to be conservative. Well, let's say it takes 2 hours to drive those 100 miles. Well, that's $25 an hour. So if they work 10 hours a day, that's $250 a day. It's not Jeff Bezos money, but it's not. It's not living in the street money either. So
no, it's money. The thing about it is there's a limit on the number of consecutive hours that they can drive, and they have to have a log
before they take more no-dos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you hear about this guy? I can't talk about people being short-sighted. Talk about people stepping over dollars to pick up donuts. I don't know. Jeff Bezos texts brother. There we go. That'll bring it up. How the National Enquirer, this is in the Wall Street Journal this morning, how the National Enquirer got Jeff Bezos' texts. You know how they did it?
No.
Go ahead, ask me how they did it.
Dwayne, how did the National Enquirer get Jeff Bezos' texts?
I'm going to tell you how the National Enquirer got Bezos' texts. They paid $200,000 to his lover's brother.
For texts that are to his lover's brother.
Michael Sanchez sold the billionaire's secrets to American media, the Enquirer's publisher. Now, here's the deal. If my sister, I don't have one, but if I did, if my sister were dating the wealthiest man on planet Earth, let's just get that out right there. We're talking billions and billions of dollars. That's B as in billions.
Yep.
I'm going to, that it's possible that she might marry him. Thus, he becomes my brother-in-law, right? And so that kind of, without being greedy or anything, it sort of gives me some easy access to capital. If I should need it, right?
You would think.
I mean, if I ever have to go to the doctor, I'm not going to worry about not being able to pay the bill. Because my sister will call me and say, hey, Jeff's got this. Okay, cool. Now, so he takes, hey, John, just one second. He takes $200,000, turning his back on potentially billions of dollars for 15 minutes of fame and another hit off the crack pipe. I mean, what is this guy thinking? He's nuts. John, you heard about this, right? This guy, his sister's dating or sleeping with the richest man on planet Earth. Yeah. Billions and billions of dollars. He sells him out for $200,000 to the National Enquirer.
Yeah, pretty pathetic.
That is beyond pathetic. Yeah. So, how are you today? Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Not too bad. The market is, I'll tell you what, our belief that the market would rally into the second half of March certainly is happening. And I would say it's starting to fracture a little bit here. While this is a strong day, it seems to be shunting back and forth. Semiconductors came roaring back again. They really have been phenomenal, and are continuing to drive the market. Amazon's also taking I think it's making new monthly highs now. The overseas markets are all acting tremendously. They're breaking out to new monthly highs. In fact, the DAX was up substantially this morning. I think there's something going on between Commerce Bank and Deutsche Bank as a possible merger. Deutsche Bank is in all kinds of trouble, and I think it's a sort of a semi-bailout. The other thing that's happening, which we've kind of been alluding to and saying be ready for it to happen, the platinum has really blossomed in the last day or so. It's up about $19-20 today, and it's back up to $8.54, and it's looking very bullish in my view. And actually today the palladium is down a little bit. It's actually up, but it's off the highs. It's still up $12. I think it's at an all-time record high today, but I guess finally the platinum is on the move, and that bodes very well for the gold and silver. If you look at the structure of the gold, well, look at that. You can see how this thing could really rip higher to 900 and maybe even up to 1,000 from here. I think the that big advance off the 790, which we called on the show, if you remember, and we ran up very, very sharply, and this sort of pullback maybe, look, this could be the beginning of a third wave here. If we get a gap higher tomorrow or in the next few days and rip through this 880 area, I think that takes out major resistance and puts the platinum on a new kind of upward trajectory. So
on the palladium, John, it says here palladium hit its highest ever on Tuesday, crossing the $1,600 an ounce mark for the first time, as news that Russia is planning to ban exports of precious metals scrap fueled concerns over an already supply-constrained market.
Yeah, well, look, remember we talked about that before. Generally the kind of hostility of Russia, the sanctions, their response to sanctions. This is probably one of them, and they're doing great because the price is at all-time highs. It's good for them, and we haven't quite hit our 16. Well, maybe we have hit 1,600 on some kind of an indicator. That was our target, if you remember, from the 800 bottom back in the summer. Now it was back in August, I think. However, look, I wouldn't put any lid on platinum at this point, or palladium rather. It would, if it gets to 1,600, it's probably going to pull back somewhere. After doubling, it's a potentially normal thing. If we get to 17,450, you could probably start looking at $2,000 platinum, maybe even 2,200, something like that. But it is an extraordinary. You know what? Keep that chart up for a second, Dwayne. Just expand it out a bit.
How far you want to go?
Just hold. Yeah. Look at that and consider the possibility that it's almost like a gold chart from 1980, and it's going to new highs. And the gold may follow that chart.
So this was the gold run up in proxy from 2000, and now we're making this run. Is that what you suggested? Or are you on the phone?
Yeah, I think he took a call.
He's on the phone.
He took a call. He'll be back. He'll be back.
The silent whisperer just became the phone whisperer. All right. Okay, guys. Last night, as we were watching the S&P 500 E-mini, as we do, and talking about it, let's find the Globex open. That would have been right there. Right there. So, did we just dive in head first? No, we did not. I'll show you why. We were waiting on this. Was there a physical touch? Poof. Well, it's about as close as it can get. The swing low of that candle was, it opened at 28.41.5. The low here was 28.41 1/4. And so we might have been one tick off, and that little doji right there kind of signaled it. Leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement, a leg and a deeper retracement all the way back to the BBC. Now where's price coming? I do hope you see this. Price is coming back to the trading zone and
Hello.
the BBC. Yes, John, go ahead.
Sorry. So like I say, there is a bit of you've got to be a little bit careful of this market going higher here over the next few days, because it might, especially with the Fed. I guess we're getting a bit of a pullback now, but this being so strong going into a Fed meeting. It's quite a while since this happened.
As you recall, no. The last two Fed meetings, we rallied into the meeting.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, and we commented.
To this extent.
Yeah. Well, I know that at least both of them were pretty significant rallies. Because we commented on at the time, this is unusual. The last time we said 2 times running, we've rallied into this Fed announcement, and and now we're rallying because he's promised no more rate hikes. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, like we say, you know, the employment situation being the way it is certainly doesn't, you know, almost for sure they're not going to raise rates, and they're probably going to maintain a fairly, you know, cautious language. You know, I think he probably feels pretty good about himself at the moment, the Fed guy, and I don't think he wants to mess up the market and be the target of a, you know, unanimous abuse like he was before.
And Congress might investigate him.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Over in the House, I mean, they're just, if it moves, you know, investigate it, indict it, chase it, spend taxpayer money.
Well, the only thing I can remember, you know, because I think we even commented about it on the show, you know, the first time he ever did his testimony in Congress, you know, he had all the black senators beating and congressmen beating him up and saying, oh, you know, you got to do something about, you know, black unemployment and all this, and they were really, you know, taking him to task. And I think he took it, you know, he was sort of getting a bit flustered because they just wouldn't stop. And you know, they've been completely silenced because nobody can complain anymore with what the Fed and Trump has done for black unemployment. You know, it's never been anything like it. And I think it even hit new lows in spite of the 20,000 jobs created the other day. So I think the women, the Asian, the Hispanic, and the blacks all hit new lows, and that other indicator, the U6, hit new lows. So if we get if we do get a spurt at the end of this month, and we restore this job creation to normality, I mean, it's really it could be the start of another big, you know, 5 or 6 month trend where we might actually start cracking, you know, 3.7, 3.6, 3.5% unemployment over the coming months, which would obviously be gigantic. And as we've explained before, certainly in terms of jobless claims, which are a pretty good measure of unemployment, we're hitting all-time record lows in jobless claims. There's never been, on a population-adjusted basis, there's never been anything like what we're experiencing today. And by the way, there was a poll came out yesterday. 71% of the population think we're going in the right direction. That is, I think that's an all-time record. Certainly, it's.
So give me that statistic.
71% of the population think we're going the right direction. The economy is going the right direction, and we're doing.
How could anyone think
the country's going in the right direction?
Okay, all right. So, so consumer sentiment is up at all-time highs. We got more jobs than we have people who want to work, right? But don't worry, don't feel disenfranchised. Don't feel disenfranchised if you don't want to work, because Miss Cortez, she got a check for you. Yeah, we got a check with your name on it. You don't want to work, you want to lay on the couch, you just want to watch Springer, no problem. We're going to send you a check anyway, because we want you to feel like you're a part of all this. What kind of insane rhetoric is that? And people are buying into it. Oh my goodness.
Listen, we hit an all-time, I think we just hit a TVIX low today, all-time low, by about a point, by literally a tick, and then we turned around and we're rallying pretty sharply right now. And
look at this, John. Is that correct? This is a monthly.
Yeah. It's right. It's true. Yeah.
So let's go to daily. Okay.
Yeah, there's a little, see that? And
A little green shoot.
yeah, and it's an possibly outside day as well, so that's important. The market's coming off a bit. You know, as I was saying earlier on, it's starting to fracture. So I'd be extremely cautious up at these levels now, because, you know, we might get a bit of a spike on the Fed, and that might be it for the rest of March. You know, so.
Do you think the Fed might try to cool this market just a little bit,
Possibly,
so it doesn't overheat?
Possibly, yeah.
You know, with a little bit of hawkish language, just well, we reserve the right to at some point and start raising.
There's always
again.
something that could probably not, but you never. Look, remember the market's kind of been rallying into this. They've been rallying into the Chinese deal, and they just might run out of. And we're getting up towards the highs of October, so and I think anybody who's been long from the lows is probably going to say, you know what, I think I'll lighten up here. I would say the smart money is probably easing out of this market a little bit right now.
All right, now look at this. I just did a Fibonacci extension on the daily chart of the S&P current contract. Just took it from the low, December 26th, up to this recent high, down to the low, and we get a projection. Now, we're right at that first projection, the 24% Fibonacci price extension. Yeah. The next one takes us up to basically 2,900. Our highest weekly trading zone for this week is, well, it's basically 2880, which takes us to here. And then you know what? We've got a Fed announcement to put fuel on the fire. And so if if the markets take what Jerome Powell has to say tomorrow at the press conference, if they take it kindly, we could certainly move up another 50 points. What are we at right now? We are at, oh, nice. Very nice. Oh, and by the way, to everyone in the channel, you're welcome. All right, you guys thought I was crazy this morning with that 2844 number, but look where we went, right down to 42. In fact, we spiked this all the way down to 41.25. All right. And we've got this zone here ready to catch it. 37. Did any news just come out, or was it just time?
It sounds like something happened. I just have that kind of reaction.
Stocks rapidly give back gains on reports that China walking back their trade concessions. Breaking news. There you have it.
There you go.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Stocks gave back most of the gains after a report that said China may be walking back some trade offers. Yeah, okay, that's all they've got so far. That's the breaking news. I'm sure there'll be more. Oh, they'll be waxing eloquent about it all afternoon on the TV, on the financial channels. What do you watch, John? You watch CNBC or you watch Fox Business? Or knowing you watch both?
I keep an eye on both.
Okay. Yeah. At the same time?
Yeah.
I had a feeling. You know, I was watching that Sebring race on Saturday. I know you were watching the Grand Prix, but at Sebring, it was pouring down rain. Mm-hmm. I guess I really wasn't aware. And when I was a kid, my dad used to take me to the stock car races. This was kind of like pre-NASCAR. You know, a dirt oval track. That's how old I am. But I was watching the Sebring race, and they were out there in that pouring rain and mist, and they were still going. And that's a 12-hour race. Most races are determined by the number of laps, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they usually go by laps. And now well, in NASCAR anyway. Oh, and they're broken it down into like periods in NASCAR.
Yeah, like the Daytona 500. That's why I had a little brother. Because my dad, this is the story, this is the family story. My dad says, honey, I want to go to the Daytona 500 with my friends. And she says, oh, well, funny you should mention that. I want a second child. And they agreed. And he went to the races, and I had a little brother. So there you go. I think I can fill in the blanks. Someone needs help, just contact me after the show. All right, John, what else do we want to talk about?
Well, actually, everything's coming off a bit here. Even the oil too. So it might be. But this is a pretty bad pullback here. So I think well, it's just like we say. There's always some sort of a way the market seems to come off ahead of the Fed meeting.
I mentioned earlier, guys, about the Russell leading to the downside, and this is what I was going to bring and show you. But now all this has happened. See, we had this bearish cross. Price got below the BBC, got below this zone, pulled back. This is the exact opposite of what I showed you on the S&P. The thing that we waited for. Go ahead if you need to get to
that. He went.
Yeah. Now, has the narrative changed? Not yet. However, when price gets below the BBC, we anticipate lower prices, and so we were able to take, or highlight this 2844 to 2842 move because it just made sense. Now, what else makes sense? If we take out this swing low at 41 1/4, then the next stop would logically be this 36-37 area, which is a weekly trading zone. And as you know, one of three things always happen at a weekly trading zone: consolidation, rejection, or the slice. And what is the slice? The slice is when price on a 30-minute candle passes through the zone as if it weren't even there. Now, we've already consolidated here and here and here. And some might say, yeah, but this is above and, this is below. With the exception of these three little candles right here, all of them are touching that zone. And so this whole area here is consolidation. Now, we have 3 minutes left. Make that 2 minutes left in the life of this 30-minute candle. If it closes below the zone, we then expect price to pull back to the zone. Now, we may be doing it right now. As you see, we sliced through. Now we're pulling back to the zone to confirm good resistance. As we open up this next candle in 2 minutes, minute and a half, watch what happens. Just watch what happens. John, are you there? Not there. Okay.
No, he's still not there. That's me.
Okay. All right. So here's the Dow. Let me show you what that looked like. Yes.
Mike Reed sent an email. You probably want to go take a look at when you get a chance.
Does he want to come on today?
He's not able to come on right now.
Okay.
I think he's still having issues. But
okay. All right. I'll get in touch with him. He's got my number. Yeah. He knows he can call me anytime. Mike, if you're listening, call me. Please. He
says he did.
Well,
I think. But anyway.
Hey, Mike, call the 743 number. Okay? Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So there's a little different dynamic going on here with the Dow. Now, going back to yesterday at noon, bullish cross, price pulled away, price pulled back to physically touch right at. Go ahead, John.
Okay, so I think the other thing is that we had that kind of went up and back down yesterday, and it seems to be doing the same again. As we're going higher, you see we're actually diverging. Do you see that on the indicators?
Hang on.
And I was actually thinking of that earlier on before this happened, when I first came on, if you remember.
Yes, that's very savvy of you to mention that. See what he's talking about, guys, here. Look at this. We're dropping below that 50-yard line, and we know that red and falling, that's bearish. But yet up here, we're still above the BBC. Now, we just got that new candle. Now, watch what happens. Watch and see. This thing could drop like a rock. this low.
The new
and
candle
lined up
open
again.
below the MA1.
Yep. I was thinking it might open below the zone, but apparently not. Now, it's got one last opportunity right here, it would seem, to get a toe hold, try to build another leg to the upside. I wouldn't second guess it. I would let it do its thing.
Yeah, I've noticed actually recently that this VIX, the VIX has a habit of having these short-term reactions and jumping up about a point or two, and then it gives a good bit of it back, and then we're going to know probably later today if this is the real deal or if this is just another kind of a pullback and we're going to go back up again. Incidentally, one of the things that is quite remarkable, in fact, if you put up the Russell 2000, you'll see that it presents a different kind of picture to the rest of the market.
Yes, it's been leading to the downside.
Yeah, exactly. And that is something to be pretty careful of right now.
Actually, it's led to the upside and led to the downside. It led this parade to the downside this morning.
Right. So, you know, if this thing starts falling away around 1563 down to 60 or less, then it could turn savagely down, you know. So,
I agree.
You know, I think the China thing, the market reacts to these whims either way, but there's still, you know, I think the China expectations are still pretty high for the Chinese deal, you know, so.
Now the NQ not having as serious a correction.
I want to tell you something. Can you pull up the GDX?
Sure. Do you want it on daily, 30 minutes? What do you want?
Daily, I think. Yeah.
Sure.
Look at that gap you just had right there. Did you see that gap?
Mm-hmm. Here's the daily, John.
Yeah, there's a sort of a head and shoulders attempt at that, but
yeah, head, shoulder,
yeah.
shoulder.
But what I'm thinking is, if we, you know, if the gold and silver decide to take off on this Fed news, there's no more powerful move in the universe than a negated head and shoulders top, and it could take us up a whole new direction. If you can put the weekly up, I think you'll get a better perspective on it.
Look at this reverse head and shoulders over here. Head,
right,
shoulder,
right.
Shoulder. Broke that
Right.
neckline, and look at that.
But what's interesting is that this has actually been performing better than the JNUG. And if you look at this, you know, if you say that this bull market started back in September and it's basically been working its way higher in an uptrend, you know, if it accelerates past 23, that's probably a trigger for this thing to go, you know, exponential to rapidly higher. And I think if you squeeze that up and get a bit more volume, you get a better view of it. Especially taking out that 24 spike there, that could be very, very bullish. See what I mean? Do you see how this thing could really kind of arc up to the 32 level? And that 32 level is a big deal because that's the, you know, that's the big high. I mean, look at where we came from to get to there, to get to that 32, and look at it's much less of a climb from here to get back to that high, and getting back to that high would be a very big deal indeed. I think that, and we're right there. You know, there's a sort of bit of resistance at that 24 level. You take that out, I think you could experience a pretty fast move up to the 32, 30, maybe even 34 on this thing. And Newmont, if you look at Newmont, it looks kind of dynamic as well. And Royal Gold continues to make new highs.
Give me 1 second.
And NEM.
NEM, here we go.
See, it's a little, you know, if it takes out that 37, Newmont's probably off to the races, you know. And it's really got a great consolidation. I mean, these are sort of consolidations that tend to go substantially higher once they break above them. Kind of a rectangular formation. Try RGLD. Let's see what that looks like.
Royal Gold. Go.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Look at that. That's really, you know, this thing could just suddenly be 100 before you know it. Almost like where the semiconductors were a few months ago.
Yep.
Put up a SOXL just to see what how that base was there months ago.
Now we're on a weekly.
Yeah, look at, I mean, pretty impressive rebound there.
This V bottom, yeah, it really stands out. This thing seems to turn that way quite a bit.
Have a look at, let's have a look at the Xilinx, XL and X.
I'm sorry, what was Xilinx?
Sorry, yeah, XL and X.
Go.
Yeah, look at that. It's as strong as heck, that stock. And looks like it's about to burst higher.
T-Mobile.
Same thing.
Little double top up there on the weekly.
Yeah, yeah. And keys. Look at keys. Yeah, look at this. Almost can't restrain itself from moving higher. Almost, that stock.
Hey, look at that! Look at those, that string of green candles, week after week after week.
Yeah, yeah. Very strong. There was just I just caught a guy. I just caught a guy on CNBC. There's a new, there's 8. I think that, yeah, there's 8 contenders now in the space race, and one of the new ones is a guy called OneWeb. I think, or Web 1, and they're going to launch 2,000 satellites, something like that, and they're going to be in a lower orbit, but they're going to give complete coverage all over the world, and it's also going to be, I guess, 5G. So that will be extraordinary when that happens. That will probably, there you go, Web 1. OneWeb, that's the one.
I'm trying to get to their website. Okay, there we go. OneWeb.world. That may be the first time I've seen that TLD.
Yeah.
First page is not loading.
They just got funding today, I think. They're just they're basically buildings. They're almost mass producing satellites.
There we go. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
That's why it took so long to load.
Yeah.
1.25 billion in new funding.
Yeah, they say they can, you know, reach schools, every school in the world, and all these different, you know, get the rural, you know, be able to get it will basically, their idea is a one web for every, you know, web for everybody.
Well, now Google had this a similar initiative, and so did Zuckerberg, but I haven't heard much about those of late.
Yeah, I think this is the real deal. It's actually happening. I think they've managed to get the cost down of these satellites tremendously.
Oh, and what happened to that company? Remember, they were going to give a laptop to every child. What was the name of that? Do you remember that? It's been a few. It's
Yeah,
a few years back.
I do. Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out how to get some for the kids at New Hope Orphanage.
I thought that was a Google kind of a backed deal.
It may have been, John, but I just haven't heard about it lately.
Yeah.
Now, my daughter, she's 11, and they now use an iPad in her classroom. It's standard issue. Every kid gets an iPad. And even though they've hobbled them, you know, to try to keep them focused on their work, her report card all of a sudden, out of the blue, went from very good to quite horrible. And when I talked to the teacher, what's going on here? Oh, she won't stay off the iPad. She's playing the games. She's doing this or that. I'm like, well, then maybe you should take it away from her. I mean, don't. She's a kid. You put a shiny toy in front of her, she's going to play with it. I mean, that's what kids do. So either you got to learn how to enforce this thing, keep them on track, or you got to take it away. You get out the pen and paper, and have you, I know that your son's grown now, but my God, have you seen how they do math nowadays? It is so convoluted. It would take an act of Congress to figure out a simple multiplication problem. It's just, I look at the teacher, this is real dumb. And the teacher's a little bit older, and she looked at me and goes, I know. She goes, but I have no choice. This is what they tell me to teach. I got to teach it. So, what are your thoughts on these celebrities that did not have enough faith in their own kids to get into school, that they spent this big money? And apparently, they're talking, the lady from the Hallmark Channel, who was on the Full House back in the day, very nicely, I really like her. That's Lori Loughlin, I think it is. They're talking about she could get 5 years. I mean, this is worse than the Martha Stewart thing.
It's pretty heavy.
This isn't something new. I mean, and they talk about, well, they paid this guy money. Okay, you know, is that a whole lot different than families who have money can make sure that their kids have enough tutors and coaches, and they can take the exam a bunch of times as a practice before they actually go to take the SAT or the ACT, whereas families of ordinary means might not be afforded that same luxury. Isn't that an issue in and of itself?
Sure. I mean, it's just, look, I guess when you got the money, you know, you think you can do anything. That's the same, you know, they got the suffering from the OJ syndrome, where they just think they can do whatever they want, and the money's no object.
Have you seen Jeff Bezos' new dog?
No, I haven't.
Here you go.
What kind of a dog is it?
There it is.
Oh, that. Oh, Jesus.
This guy, what planet is he visiting from? I mean, you know, he's not an Elon Musk. He's not smoking doobies on the podcast. This guy is very focused. Now, granted, he's got some libido issues, apparently, but he's got flying robots. At his annual Mars conference this week in Palm Springs, it's a super nerdy affair complete with flying robots and a Blue Origin engine.
He's kind of, you know, like I think it's going to be interesting to see his attempt.
I wish you could hear this. You can't hear it, but
yeah, his attempt at getting to the space station, you know, and getting up there. I think it's, as soon as when he goes into high gear, I think it's going to be pretty impressive.
Oh, look at this! Oh, I thought that was a. That was a video. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff to send over to maybe for tomorrow's show. There's a new bike, you know, hover bike, or kind of a flying bike, and there's there's all kinds of new stuff. There's this. Have you seen this jet foil?
No.
That's a surfboard with an engine on the bottom of it. It's really impressive.
Jet foil.
No,
the Boeing 929?
No, not that one. So try surfboard jet. Oh, there.
Jet foiler. Jet foiler.
That's the one, I think. That's the one. Yeah.
This guy?
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, it's just amazing, actually.
Have you surfed, John?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I kind of worse.
Now they make it look pretty easy, don't they?
Yeah. It's awesome.
That thing is above the water. Look at that. Wow, I wonder how much practice it took to get.
It doesn't take too much. It's pretty easy, actually.
Now, what's keeping that up? A cushion of air? What's going on?
It's a hydrofoil. It's got a hydrofoil underneath, and it has a electric motor.
No, you don't want to fall in that water.
He's in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
Actually,
you don't want to fall in that water.
Swimming. I saw guys swimming in Amsterdam or in Holland, in some small town that had waterways like this, on International House Hunters yesterday.
I don't know.
I wouldn't go in. Yeah, no, I wouldn't go in.
It's been a long time since I've been there, but
Yeah.
Okay, look. Well, look, it was just a pullback. Looks like we're heading higher again along the market. So,
yeah, let's take a peek. Yes. Look at that. Look at that, guys. Yeah. We're waiting for that candle to finish. Finished way up here. Now, what are we doing? We're getting that bounce. And this was now, John. Let me ask you this before you go. Even though we're going to, you still there?
Yep.
Even if we continue higher here temporarily, don't you think this makes a pretty good statement about what's to come?
no, I don't feel like.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it was just what I said this morning. I think you got to sort of trade, very carefully from now on, and be ready for some surprises.
He wasn't there.
All right, let me mute Mike's mic.
I totally forgot he's
But the way we're heading, the way this kind of
I mentioned something today.
Advance and pullback, is potentially setting us up for at least a spike upwards on the Fed news tomorrow, for starters, and then we'll see what happens thereafter. I mean, in a way, if the Fed did spike higher and then it reversed and came down, that might be a way for gold and silver to usher in, higher prices tomorrow. And obviously the dollar, the dollar is down below 96. It's not, it's certainly gone down quite a bit from the highs, and it has a potential very powerful monthly reversal developing on it, negative reversal. But I'm not convinced yet, because the dollar has had a habit of just coming back from the brink numerous times over the last year and two, and it could do it again. But I think if the dollar breaks another point, I mean, if the dollar really tanks tomorrow, that could be the cue for gold and silver to do the same, to go much higher. Because if we get another point drop in the dollar, I think the odds of the dollar going up before the end of the month would be greatly reduced.
If what we're looking at right here, John, if this were to become a head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder, would you put the neckline way down here after that drop, or would you? Yeah,
because I mean, you could, if we don't get up past that and then we go to a right shoulder, then you might have a very neat kind of a little head and shoulders top. And actually, that's something like what happened back on October the 2nd. I mean, it don't ring a bell at the top, but you can see, sometimes you see a little thing developing that kind of looks different from all the other tops, and might be the real deal. So
and this is actually a dark cloud cover candlestick pattern. Right?
Yeah. The other thing that's kind of interesting is the currencies are still trying to get out of a tight range. The pound, because of all the stuff going on in Europe, the pound hasn't broken. I think the pound's got to get over 134, 135 to sort of break out from this range it's been in. It's up near the high end of it. So we've got to see a demonstrative, move up in the currencies from here to really, to really knock the dollar down, if you like, and put the currencies out of group in much more of a bull type of move, bull run. And I think it's coming in the next few months. You just don't know whether it's around immediately ahead, or it's going to take another month or two to get into that situation.
Here's a look at currencies. Euro USD, New Zealand. Which one in particular are you watching?
Probably the euro, just to see where the euro is right now relative to the bottom, and the pound, I think.
Right here.
Yeah.
Where are we at on the Brexit deal?
Well, it's been delayed, and
I mean, they were supposed to be out by end of March, right?
well, it's possible that this guy's introduced some sort of a thing from some 400-year-old law that might delay it for 2 years. And if that really becomes a reality, I think you're going to see the pound rally dramatically, and probably the euro too.
Interesting. All right, John.
Okay.
Thanks
Listen,
so
have a
much.
great afternoon. Thanks
You
again,
too, sir.
and we'll see you tomorrow. Much
Okay, see you
obliged.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, here we got it. Remember, we were waiting for this candle to close because as long as price is above the BBC, we anticipate higher prices. When it gets below, we anticipate lower. Okay, we were able to take advantage of the 2844 to 2842 move. We were able to point that out earlier as certainly a possibility. Came to pass, but that's all. That's really all it gave up. I think the swing low was 41.5. All right, the Dow positioned for another leg to the upside. Russell positioned for a leg to the downside. Keep an eye on the Russell, okay? Because if the Russell continues to move down, it has led these markets. NQ still positioned. So who's the outlier? The Russell. Either the Russell gets with the rest of the crew, or the rest of the crew is coming to follow the Russell. So if the Russell begins to lead to the downside, you can probably figure out whatever it is you need to do. There's Crude. Crude already moving to the downside in defiance of the S&P. And what else we've got? Nice move in copper overnight, 292 to 293. You go, guys. And what else? Gold. Now, a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement. What next? Take a look here at the slingshot. Crossing to the downside, get back to the ES. Already crossed. Hang on. That was Crude. Right here. Crossing. Huh? I would watch very closely for indications that the market may start to move to the downside. Okay? Alright. Is that right? Is that right? Hey, good word for the day. Joan, I don't know. MB, is still there? That's a hard no. We've been talking about surrendering to God, surrendering our will to His will. Part 4. Romans 12:1. Offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. Paul writes, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. During a Jewish sacrifice, an animal would be killed and then its body placed on the altar to be consumed by fire. So what happens if you put a live creature on the altar and say, sit until you're consumed, and then light the fire? Well, the creature will jump off. But Paul encourages us to crawl back onto the altar, to surrender day by day, moment by moment. Now, in the moment, it feels like death. but it's really the only way to be fully alive. Example. Suppose somebody does something that makes you mad. The situation's complicated. You're not sure even how to respond. Without even trying, your mind fills with all kinds of bad thoughts. Why is that? When faced with the unknown, why does the human mind construct every possible negative, bad thing that could happen? I mean, right? I mean, good stuff does happen, right? You've experienced it at some point in your life, good stuff, yeah? Without even trying, your mind just instantly fills with every doomsday scenario possible as it relates to whatever issue you're going through. In that moment, you really don't know what you should do. Good news. God knows. And if you surrender to Him, He will show you how to respond with grace. The options that look attractive to you, avoiding the issue, never works. Evading the issue, never works. Gossiping, blasting, just relinquish it all to God. Give it up. If your hurt runs deep, it'll be about 5 minutes before the revenge fantasies start raging back. And then you'll have to surrender all over again. But at least you know how to do it. And you start to be able to recognize those fantasies a little quicker as time goes on. And somehow you're able to yield just a little bit longer. The 5 minutes becomes 7. 7 becomes a day. Imagine going a 24-hour period with no hate, no rage, no judgment in your heart. That's where it lives, you know. As you learn to surrender to God in each given situation, you no longer have to surrender to your own impulses. I wish I could teach my daughter that. You lose a life, but you gain a life much better than the one you lost. Well, what am I really giving up here? Envy, anger, slothfulness, gluttony. But gluttony's my friend. Yeah, no, it's not. You lose a life, but you gain a life. A life much better than the one you lost. In the end, it turns out that nothing you lost was worth keeping anyway. So let it go. That's our good word for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.